Everybody, and welcome to another video. So today we have the ultimate Regulation E tier list. So just want to get some things straight already, that we already have some Pokemon in the D tier. These are Pokemon I don't think really need explaining for why they're not good. The only ones I can really think you might want to run is Alolan Muck for like those few niche strats people have been running. But otherwise, I don't think it's going to see too much usage. I don't really think any of these are going to see too much usage. So let's get into it. First, we have Charizard. Now, Charizard is a good solar power Pokemon. I think it's like the only one that can run it. Run it and be good. Tropius and Sunflora technically have it, but Charizard's got a niche. It's the best solar power user, fire type. The only thing is, I think there's a lot of better fire types in the meta that you don't necessarily want to in Charizard. So for that, I think I'm going to put it in C tier. Next up is Raichu, and Raichu has Lightning Rod, which is really good because you can redirect electric type attacks, and I'm pretty sure it's the only one right now that can run it because Rhydon, Marowak, and Substrika are not in the game. Maybe when Substrika comes back in the game, it could give Raichu a run for its money, but Substrika doesn't really have anything to define itself as something meta-defining. But then again, there's not a lot of good electric types either. There's like Iron Hands. That's it. So, C tier. Alolan Sandslash. Now, I'm still confident in Alolan Sandslash's ability to do well. Flesh Rush is really good. But it's just kind of hard to find that now since it's not a special attacker and basically every ice type currently wants to run Blizzard. So I think that's why Alolan Sandslash is not seeing the real usage. If we had a special attacker with Flesh Rush, then I think we would definitely have one of the best Pokemon of all time. But for that, I'm going to put Alolan Sandslash in C tier. Clefairy. Clefairy has already seen some good tournament results, and I think it's a really good Pokemon. Friend Guard, really good. I always knew it was going to be better than Mouthhold, so let's put it in A tier. Clefable. Clefable is worse Clefairy. Essentially, you get to run an item on it. That's not Eviolite. And now, if your item gets knocked off, it's not that big a deal. So, for Clefable, though, I think Clefable is really niche, and you're not going to really want to run it. You just want that follow me, and basically, if you were to run another Eviolite Pokemon, like, say, you're running Dusclops or Murkrow, which I put in D tier, but if you were to run those, and you had your Eviolite on those, I guess you can run Clefable. Like, that's still, like, very, very unlikely. Or maybe you're running your Eviolite on Dipplin. C tier. Alolan Ninetales. It's seen good tournament results. I'm still saying it's not the worst, but it's just every time I feel like we see it on a tournament stream, it either stays alive, it does what it needs to do, or it gets knocked out turn 1. C tier. I mean, not C tier, A tier. Sorry, I guess I got used to putting things in C tier. Regular Ninetales. Now, regular Ninetales. I still believe in regular Ninetales. I'm pretty sure it was Moxie Boosted that was like talking about how regular Ninetales was like really good with Sandy Shocks because now you get that fast gravity up. But keep in mind we have Sableye as a gravity setter now. So now I think we gotta put regular Ninetales in C tier as well. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a trend for the video. Most Pokemon are probably gonna end up in C tier. Hisuian Arcanine. Now, it's won 5 tournaments out of 5, so I mean, how can I not put it in S tier? That's really all I can say. I mean, you can look at the tournaments for yourself. You can see what it does. It's amazing. Just slap a Choice Band and you're good. Regular Arcanine, unfortunately, I don't think regular Arcanine's as good. It's really good if you want support, because now you get less weaknesses. And, one thing is, we've seen support of Hisuian Arcanine too, though. We've seen, Michael Zhang use, Hisuian Arcanine supportively, and has it paid really well off, and yes, it has. Hopefully we can see a lot more Hisuian Arcanine usage. Because, honestly, it's still not hitting as high as you'd expect. Like, you'd expect the Pokemon to win 5 out of 5 tournaments to be, like, 60% usage. But no, it stayed under 50% in every single tournament, and it's shocking. So I think I'm going to put regular Arcanine in C tier. Goldango. This thing just cracked 40% usage in Poland. So, good for Goldango. And I feel like every time we kind of sleep on Goldango, and then it kind of rises up again. But this is like the biggest increase I think we've seen in Goldango since like Series 1. It's really good. There's a lot of good fairy types, and everything's Terra Dragon, and Salamence is back, and I think just everything's going in Goldango's way. S tier. Wochen. Wochen still has the niche. Let me tell you. Hear me out. There's a lot of grass types. And that is really what's putting Wochen down right now. The amount of grass types. But, when you think about it, this thing has access to Snarl, which not a lot of grass types have. A lot of dark types have, but not a lot of grass types. So if you want a Spore immunity with Snarl, this is your Pokemon. And it has Pollen Puff. So this is actually a good Pokemon. The problem is Wochen is outclassed by nearly every other grass type. Chien-Pao. Oh boy, where to begin? Chien-Pao is just the best. It just is. Like, the amount of damage this thing can output with it and a partner is basically, it can be like totally hyper offense, it can go all the way. And I really honestly want to see if anyone starts running Haze Chien-Pao again. Oh, we saw a lot in Regulation. I feel like we saw a good amount, not like a lot, but like a good amount in Regulation C to counter Dondoso's Tatsugiri. But now, with the amount of Intimidators we have, right? We have Hisuian, Arcanine, Salamence, and Landorus Terrian popping up everywhere. We should see more Haze Chien-Pao as a way to counter those Intimidate drops. And I think it's something that we should consider running. Ting-Lu. Now, the problem with Ting-Lu is that Ting-Lu, it's just not as good as Landorus, right? You don't want something bulky here, you want something more offensive in this meta, a more offensive presence. And not that bulk is bad or anything, like there's a lot of Pokemon that can run bulk effectively to better itself. For example, like Clefairy, as I was saying before, you can run Eviolite and Friend Guard and basically your Pokemon are living. Amoonguss, one of the bulkiest Pokemon of all time, just easily tanking hits. And now we have Ting-Lu over here. And it's kind of good in the right circumstance. I think it's a B tier. For Chi-Yu, I think this Pokemon is still really good. It's not as good as Chien-Pao, but still really good. The problem is, well, Hisuian Arcanine is just the fire type you want. It feels really hard to run double fire in this meta, because everyone's just running grass, water, grass, water. Like, every grass type has a water partner, is what I'm trying to say here. And you have Wellspring Ogerpon, which Terra Waters, Hearthflame Ogerpon, which Terra Fires, and then you just have Amoonguss, which can Terra Water. Like, all these Pokemon are defensively terroring to ignore Fire-type damage. And as for Dark-type damage, Psychic types are starting to get very scarce. While we still have Indeedee and Armarouge and Cresselia, that's really about it. And at that point, what does Dark do? But I'd still give it an S tier. Roaring Moon. Roaring Moon's kind of coming back in the meta, being there again, even if Salamence is getting reintroduced slowly. I kind of want to pair these two together to compare them. So, Roaring Moon, you know, it's a more offensive presence, while Salamence is a more defensive presence with Tailwind and Roost. It sets up Intimidate from Salamence, and Roaring Moon will use to boost your energy and go crazy. It's really these two that you kind of have to pick one, and I think Physical Salamence is still really good, but Special Salamence has proven to be really amazing as well. And I think we will see more Special Salamence the future, but also maybe one day more Physical Salamence. So with that, I think I'm going to have to say that Roaring Moon is an A tier, and Salamence is a B tier. So Iron Valiant. I feel like Iron Valiant is being kinda overpowered, right? It's like being, that's not what I'm trying to say. Oh man, I can't find a word for it, but like, it's overshadowed. It's being overshadowed by Fluttermane feature. Diplin. Eviolite user. Eviolite abuser. Super sweet syrup. Lowering evasiveness. Yeah. Better grass types. There's better dragon types. I kind of wanted to talk about this on its own because I was still kind of debating whether Diplin is a C tier or D tier, but I think now, looking at it, it's kind of a D tier and you kind of have to force yourself to use it. Sinistra is really good. Sets up Trick Room, Matcha Gotcha. It's still really good, even though I feel like everyone now knows what it does. Like, before, like, really early in Regulation E, like, we're talking, like, back in, like, when it started in October, we saw, like, Sinistra, like, immediately everywhere, and then it just slowly dropped. And now it's not, like, as high as usage anymore. And that's because everyone knows what it does. Everyone knows it just heals, and everyone's prioritizing to get rid of it. And once you really target down on Sinistra, it doesn't have much it can do. As long as you don't let it sit in the field, you can counter this. And that's really what the Sinistra players relied on back in the day. You not prioritizing it. And now it's kind of like everyone knows what it does now. So, with that, I'm going to have to put it in A tier. And not S tier, like it probably would have been earlier in Regulation E. Okie Dokie is the best of the little loyal 3s. And, still not that great. You want to run Guard Dog to be immune to the rampant Intimidate that's being used. I mean, the amount of Intimidate being used in this metagame is genuinely shocking. But Okie Dokie C tier. You know what, the same with the other two. Monkey Dory, it's just a really fast one. We've seen Sludge Bomb, Psychic. You got all these cool moves, but, like, it's not that good. You just kind of beat Toxic Chain. Like, Sludge Bomb has a chance to poison regularly, and then you lose the chance for that badly poison, and then you just kind of go for luck of poison, and then you're so frail. And then you have access to Fake Out, but, like, there's better Fake Out users. So, Monkey Dory's just outclassed in every single way. Serendipity, kind of the same way. You kind of just try to get lucky, and, well, eventually your luck runs out. Kind of like King Lou, you can only hit so many fissures. Ogerpon Cornerstone. I think all the Ogerpons are obviously really amazing. Cornerstone, it still has a niche, and it top 3 the tournament, so yeah, that's cool. 100% accurate rock type damage is really good. The thing is, Sweet Arcanine is the rock type you want to run. Wins every tournament. So, maybe that's why people aren't using Ogerpon Cornerstone. Also, it's typing. While it's not bad, it's still not the best. You're still weak to fighting, and now you're taking neutral damage from fire. While you can Terastallize, that's just going to give you a whole bunch of more weaknesses. Like, you have to know when's the right time to Terastallize. And that's really the question with Ogerpon. And why I do think this situation appears more with Ogerpon Hearthflame and its Terra, I do think we are greatly in that motion where you, like, well, I can Terrify the Ogerpon Hearthflame and get that attack boost and do extra damage, or I can actually hit this Heatran. And you know what? That's really what it's come down to. And another thing is, you can do this with the Ogerpon Cornerstone, like, do I live a hit with the defense boost so I can do more damage, or am I going to need this sturdy to hold on? And that's why I'm putting Ogerpon Cornerstone in B tier. Ogerpon Hearthflame, really good. It kind of fell down in meta a little bit, but I just think these other fire types are kind of overshadowing it. And I think Ogerpon Hearthflame, it terrifies. It does a lot. But people eventually find ways around it, and that's why we're seeing so much Dragon-type usage, and it's really weighing Ogerpon Hearthflame down, so dare I say it, it's an A tier. Wellspring. Wellspring was a shock to me. I was not expecting it to be the best Ogerpon form. It's just really good. It's a really good water grass with good symmetry. We've seen it with Ludicolo, who's won the World Championships twice. So yeah, Wellspring's gonna have to go in the good old S tier. Regular Ogerpon, we've seen it on a couple of teams now, doing really good. We've seen those Razor Claw sets to always get a crit with that Ivy Cudgel and just do crazy amounts of damage. But you still don't have that mass damage boost, and why, yes, you have Defiant, which is really nice. There are other Defiant users like King Gambit, which is probably a lot better. Because King Gambit's got that dark steel typing, while Ogerpon's stuck with this lowly soul grass typing, which, yeah, good if you want to counter Moongus, which is kind of back in the meta now, but what else are you really gaining from that? Like, and now your Terra is gonna get you speed, and for what? Like, Tornadus is everywhere. Tailwind's still gonna probably get something to outspeed you. Choice Scarf is being ran on everything. What's the use of the speed boost at that point? B tier. Wheezing Galar. Not as good as Wheezing Regular. You know why? Heavy Slam is everywhere. C tier. Wheezing Regular still has this crazy combo with Roaring Moon, where basically Roaring Moon gets to keep his ability and his booster energy boost, and everyone else is basically doing nothing. And now Ability Shield Landris is being ran just so you can use your Weezing. I remember when everything started, Scarlet and Violet as a whole, the game started, Ability Shield considered useless. Now it's on Tatsugiri, it's on every Intimidator that pairs with Weezing. So what a niche card for Ability Shield, let me say. B tier. Tauros, Paldea, Blaze. I do want to know if they have the Aqua form. Let's see. I don't see the Aqua form. But Tauros, Paldea, Blaze, I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, it's basically, if you're not running Arcanine and you want a Fire-type Intimidator, here it is. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Now, when Incineroar comes, this thing does not have a niche anymore. Unless you run, like, I don't know, Clear Amulet, Tauros, Paldea, and just close combat it. But then Incineroar is probably going to benefit from something like Ghost Terra, and, like, it's just not going to be that amazing then. So, might as well live it up in B tier now. Gyarados, there's two better flying type Intimidators. And when you have Gyarados, you're basically forced to Terra in front of Iron Hands, or just switch out, and you kind of play, like, it's good to switch out with an Intimidator, but, like, now it's kind of expected. Now it's like, oh, I know you're gonna switch. So, C tier. Snorlax. Heal Pulse, Clefairy. I'm going to try to fly through these next 6. Galarian Articuno. I don't think it's that good anymore. I'm going to put it in D tier, but I just wanted to tell you that I think competitive is a good ability, and I think this thing had potential, but I think the meta is kind of pushing it out with all these dark types here. Just not good. Articuno. I think Articuno is still good. I think Snowcloak is still good, and I think this is still going to do what it was doing before, and I think people should give that a chance, because we have Alolan Ninetales now. Give Articuno a chance. Zapdos, Galar. Defiant. Not the best Defiant user, but Defiant. C tier. Zapdos Regular. I think it still has a niche. I think we are sleeping on Zapdos Galar. Yeah, you can run Iron Hands. Great, but we need more special attackers in the meta, so why not use regular Zapdos? C tier. Moltres Galar. Berserker Berry. Moltres Regular, bad. Yeah, I should have noticed Moltres Regular before. Dragonite, S tier. We've been doing this for a while. Terra Normal, Extreme Speed, win. Done. For Typhlosion Hisui, you can still kind of use it, but now it's kind of like, now you can run Choice Scarf, but everything has Choice Scarf. Now you can run Tailwind, but everything has Tailwind. So, yeah. Maybe you can bring it on the team for Choice Scarf, and then for that one person who's not running Tornadus or Shifu, and then just bring that and suddenly be the best. Azumarill. I think it's still really good and underrated. I think Water Fairy is an amazing typing, and I think also having that belly drum access, just like Snorlax, you can belly drum, Aqua Jet, a whole bunch of things, get heal pulls from stuff like Clefairy and Gothitelle, and or whatever you're running, even in, as long as it's not in DD, you're pretty good. I think Azumarill is B tier. Politoed. Not as good as Pelipper. And you know what? When I first saw this combo of Ludicolo Politoed, I thought, Politoed's not the best combo. You want the Pelipper. It counters the bug types Ludicolo's weak to, if any bug types are ran. And Corona happens to be a thing that we see every so now and then. So I'd rather just have that Pelipper with that Hurricane access to KO fighting types like Urshifu. I think Politoed is outclassed because of that. Scizor. I've been using Scizor, and it's really good. Swords Dance, Bullet Punch, Bug Bite goes pretty hard. And you just kind of use it. And, like, Fire type, Terra, Water, and now you just won the game. You Swords Dance, set up, and now you can sweep because of Priority Technician boosted Bullet Punches. Or if you want that extra power against something like a Cresselia, Bug Bite. Or if you want to steal a berry, you have Bug Bite. Scizor can literally just be ignored for a whole game, and when people do that, Scizor wins. Scizor is actually a B tier. Tyranitar won a tournament. That's nice. Sand is pretty good. I think it's still the worst weather. I think it won because no one was expecting it. I think the team was just the perfect meta call for that thing. Kind of like LAIC when Reg E was bought. It was like the perfect meta call for the occasion. The same with Tyranitar in the case where it won. Tyranitar ended up being really good, but now we got Amoonguss to counter Tyranitar, put it to sleep. Now you have to run safety goggles on your Tyranitar, but that's how you lose to the Rillabooms. So yeah, Tyranitar. I think Tyranitar still has that niche though, and you know, I think I can still put it in B tier. Ludicolo's kind of fell down. Ogerpon Wellspring was the new Ludicolo. It's won 2 world championships before, and I think in a meta without Ogerpon Wellspring, it can again. Ludicolo, this just isn't his format. C tier. Shiftry. Wind Rider, but not as good as Brambleghast. That way, I might as well bring up Brambleghast now. Brambleghast is a lot better of a Wind Rider. We saw it at LAIC with some usage, specifically with James Beck's Brambleghast. So I think I gotta put Brambleghast at B tier. Also, just so you know, like, I'm not doing that thing where, like, you put one all the way in front. That's, like, the best at B tier. I do want to keep it, like, very simple, this tier list. So, yeah. Pelipper, we've seen it get some usage again. Hurricane, just having that flying typing to accommodate it. And that's why I think it's an A tier. Breloom, it's not that good. There's a better fighting type. There's a better grass type. It had its niche when it did, but now it's kind of fallen off. And I think I'm going to put Breloom in D tier. Slacking, I think it still has that wheezing niche, but just barely holding on to that C tier. I think it's good to use on ladder if you want to be, like, funny, and it can definitely do stuff. But I think pairing it with Toedscruel was a mistake that even I fell for. Sableye, Gravity, do some funny. Volbeat worse than Illumise. But the reason I decided to talk about both is because Volbeat has more attack, while Illumise has more special attack. While you can do funny stuff with Tail Glow and Baton Pass, it's not enough to make Volbeat good. While Illumise has that more special attack, and that's actually going to come in close, because I think these Pokemon want to run Struggle Bug to lower the opponent's special attack. Now, and unlike Snarl, I'm very sure Struggle Bug is 100% accurate. But don't quote me on that. I think I'll put Illumise in B tier. I think it's still really good. Has access to fake tiers. Can do some cute stuff. At least until Whimsicott comes back. Torkoal. B tier. You just kind of do the stuff we were doing with Torkoal this whole time. Set up Trick Room, Eruption, blah, blah, blah. Crawdaunt. I mean, Trick Room water type. Milotic's not as good as Empoleon. The reason I'm putting Milotic in C tier is because of Hypnosis. Dusclops, it does that cool thing with Ursaluna Blood Moon. And you know what? I'm going to put it in B tier because it sets up Trick Room, Brick Breaks, Ursaluna Blood Moon. procs the weakness policy. Ursaluna Blood Moon's going crazy. Now, Dusclops get to Will-O-Wisp everything to make sure they can't hurt Ursaluna, and Pain Split to heal itself. So basically, once you set up and Dusclops kind of gets going, it kind of like steamrolls. Torterra. Shell Smash is cute. So cute. D tier. Look, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to put Torterra in D tier. But like, every time I face it, it's kind of like, alright, yeah, you're gonna do some fancy stuff. Now I'm just gonna one-shot you. It just doesn't have what it needs to set up still. It feel like it's missing one thing. It's better than it was before, but still missing that last thing. And I don't quite know what that thing it needs is yet. I think what it's missing, like, you compare it with Clefairy, I think what it's missing is that hitting at least base 70 speed so it can actually use its speed boost to more efficiency. And for Nape, I think Iron Fist is better than Blaze. I think having Mach Punch is really good for Nape. I think having a fire move and no recoil is good on Infernape, because then you can run this cool Iron Fist sash thing and not instantly die when you click Flare Bits, and instead can click Fire Punch, give it an Iron Fist boost, and do some crazy stuff. If you really want it to get crazy, you can use Punching Glove Iron Fist Infernape, get a 1 times power to the punching moves, and now you don't proc Rocky Helmet. I think I'm going to put Infernape in C tier. As for Empoleon, competitive user, better than Milotic, has better typing, but doesn't have Hypnosis. Gastrodon. Storm Drain Gastrodon is still really good, but chances are you're already running a water type, and you don't want to pair a Gastrodon on a team with another water type unless that water type is using Surf. I think I'm going to put Gastrodon in B. Ambipom. It's cute, but not good enough. Bronzong sets up Trick Room, has Hypnosis, has Levity. I mean, it has Hypnosis and Gravity, and I guess if you're running Heat Proof, you can do some, like, fancy stuff, but it's also got Screens and Gyro Ball, and I think it's really slept on. Garchomp isn't good. Garchomp will never be good. I do not like Garchomp. Garchomp is the worst Pokemon ever. Abomasnow. So, for Abomasnow, it's clearly outclassed by Alolan Ninetales, and I can't put it any higher than D. Also, here, allow me to just do something real quick. There, this feels right. This feels right. Sorry, just wanted to get it accurate. For Mammothline, he's got Oblivious, he's got some cool stuff, but what does he have that Dondozo doesn't? Ground typing's good, and both have Earthquake. Like, Mammothline may be doing better, both Commander Boost. Dondozo's basically doing the same damage. C tier. Glade. Glade is slept on. That's all I'm gonna say. It's slept on. It's got some cool stuff you can do with Sharpness. Wide Guard, Quick Guard. He's got all the guards. Rotom Wash. Rotom Wash is actually good. But the thing is, Rotom Wash is good, but all the other water types are great. Heatran. And yes, I do pronounce it Heatran. So for Heatran, he doesn't want to run Terra Grass anymore. He wants to run Terra Fairy, folks. Okrapon Heartflame has made him change his Terra. So now Heatran, he still does what he does before, but now it's a Terra Fairy, and now Terra Fairy Terra Blast. So he's just changed a little, but he's still good. He's still the A tier Heatran we know him all as and love him as. Cresselia sets up Trick Room, but now not essential. You're telling me we can run Dusclops now and Sinistra? Wow, alternate Trick Room setters that aren't Cresselia. I'm so shocked. Who would have expected a Pokemon like this to ever happen? Samurott Hisui. Kinda just exists. He doesn't really do anything special. I think I'm gonna have to put him in D tier. Conkeldurr, He's still got guts. He still has his stuff, but he's like not that amazing guy. Suey and Lilligan, unfortunately, I don't find a use for you anymore, but I did want to talk about you because I think we've kind of seen a lack of usage with that after you stuff. I think now with the usage of Tailwind to match that chlorophyll speeds, Suey and Lilligan has kind of fall backwards because now I'm pretty sure we're gonna eventually get to the phase where we're running Choice Scarf, Landorus, and Tailwind, and then for some reason we're just going to have a whole bunch of speed boosts until we get the fastest Landorus possible. And that's what's putting Hisui and Lilligan down. Hisui and Zoroark. Ooh, it does funny little stuff. However, if you consider, most of the abilities are one-off abilities that activate once they get on the field. So you'll instantly know it's not a Hisui and Arcanine if it disguises as a Hisui and Zoroark. If it's not a Hisui and Arcanine intimidating. Well, actually, maybe that was a bad example. If it's not a Landorus Therian, intimidating. If it's not a Chen-Pao activating Sword of Ruin as the field. If it's not Chi-Yu as soon as it enters the field. If it's not a Roaring Moon activating booster energy as soon as it enters the field. If it's not a Tauros Paldea activating Intimidate as it gets on field, etc. with Salamence, etc. with Tyranitar, etc. with Alolan Ninetales, because what else are you running Alolan Ninetales on? D tier. Gothitelle. Shadow Tag stuff. That's all I'm gonna say. Among Us. He's so sus, he kind of snuck back into S tier. We don't know how. He just kind of spored his way back into the competition. Chandelure sets up Trick Room. Same with Trevenant, really. Mimikyu sets up Trick Room, but better. Still C tier, though. Bruxish also sets up Trick Room. Hatterene sets up Trick Room. Anyone else? Klefki technically does, and Fluttermane technically does, but I want to talk about them with their other stuff later. Didi sets up Trick Room, but obviously I'll be talking about that later. I just want to see what sets up Trick Room, and it can be actually good. Rangaroo sets up Trick Room, but actually works with Torkoal, but still C tier. Anyone else who's just setting up Trick Room? I think that's all the people who set up Trick Room just for the sake of setting up Trick Room and kind of sits in C tier because they set up Trick Room. I mean, Gardevoir technically does, but it's sitting in D tier because it's just outclassed everything. Mienshao. Mienshao is slept on. It's got Fake Out, it's got Hard Guard, it's got Ice Spinner, it's got U-Turn, it's got Close Combat, it's got all the moves. It's got all the moves. And I think it's gonna sit in B tier. I might be the only one who believes that, but you know what? It's good. Also, who didn't include Ariados and Furret on the list? They're so amazing, am I right, guys? Mandibuzz has kind of not been as good as everyone predicted. Turns out, just because you set up Tailwind doesn't mean you're amazing. You kind of need that prankster, unless your name is Salamence. D tier. Hydreigon. Are people still using this guy? Volcarona. Volcarona's actually good. Volcarona is a great fire type with best bug type in the game, having Quiver Dance set up. He also has supportive Rage Powder, Tailwind, Giga Drain, and now he's running Terra Dragon. My man Volcarona's popping off. For Tornadus, Prankster, Tailwind, you know the deal. Alright, it's time for some more rapid fires. I'm just gonna kind of put a whole bunch in tiers and not really explain them, because I feel like the rules are a little more, like, obvious on what they do. Zarina, Queenly Majesty, I don't think it's good, D tier. Dragapult, Clear Body, Fast, it's okay. B tier. Thundurus Darien does lots of damage. B tier. Thundurus, normal. Prankster, but not as good. C tier. Ceruledge, not good. D tier. Meowscarada, good in certain situations. C tier. Corviknight, Mirror Armor stuff. Iron Defense, Body Press. I'm going to also put in C tier. Flamigo copies stats, does that funny thing. C tier. And then finally, Iron Jugulus had some supportive stuff. D tier. Iron Moth is that's not where I want to put you, Iron Moth. So Landorus Darien, it does that usual intimidate fun stuff. And I think I'm going to put an S tier for obvious reasons. Landorus Darien goes amazing. And it's just really good. Landorus I, we're starting to see some increase in usage. It does some fun, cheerful stuff. I think I'm having a little bit of glitch problems. Hopefully not. Lag is the worst. But Landorus Incarnate, I'm going to leave in C tier. I feel like it still hasn't done enough to be amazing. I don't know if it won Poland, because this is coming off, like, recorded on the day of Poland, so I don't know if it's won yet. I haven't checked that yet. But I did see it on, like, the top 8 match, and that's about it. So yeah. Talonflame, not as good as it used to. D tier. Sylveon does Sylveon things. C tier. Suin Gudra, Iron Defense Body Press. C tier. Klefki, Sense of Dreams. I think it's just as good as Grimmsnarl. I think they're equal. C tier. Except if you're really feeling fancy, you can run Klefki with Trick Room. Vikavolt. I think Charjabug is better. D tier. Lycanroc, D tier. Houndstone, D tier. Unfortunately, it wasn't as good. I did see it at a tournament once, but, like, wasn't amazing. Slitherwing. You know what, Slitherwing? I think you're cute, so I'm gonna put you in C tier. Sandy Shocks. I mean, if you want an offensive gravity user, C tier. So, for Como, it won a regional. It's still really good. It still does the things it wants to do. I wasn't expecting Iron Defense Body Press to be the one that won a regional. It's definitely B tier. But, like, I feel like Clanger's Soul is still good. Rillaboom, he does Rillaboom things. He sets up grassy terrain. He goes wild. That's not who I want in S tier. This is who I want in S tier. Indeedee sets up the terrain. Next. I'm just joking. It's got Follow Me. It's lag. I'm experiencing some crazy lag. Man, I hope this didn't corrupt my microphone, but if for some reason it did. There's been some lag around, so if you're shocked by any of my placements, that might be why, and you think I didn't put enough context. And there's, like, random mutes in the middle of the thing. It's probably because of the lag. Urshifu Rapid Strike. It pairs up with Tornado as well, or it can run Choice Scarf, and I think it's still really good. S tier. For Urshifu Single Strike, I think this is still an A tier. It's got some cool stuff. Black Glasses, Wicked Blow, Sucker Punch, or maybe Choice Band if you're interested. Man, this lag. Yeah, there. For Regieleki, I think I mostly, it's hard, because, you know, you saw Regieleki get second at an international, and, like, you're still wondering, was it just that case, or is Regieleki actually good? And I think I found something else that you could do with the Regieleki and still prevent those priority moves and still be good. And I think that's for a Giraffe with the Imprisoned Trick Room. So, and I think that's an alternate you could kind of run. And then you could put the Follow Me on the Ogerpon Wellspring, and I think that might have been something Tiago could have done. Again, he's probably has more experience in Regieleki than I do in Regulation E. So there's that. As for Regidrago, he does Regidrago things. He goes Dragon Energy. He's as good as Hisuian Typhlosion. Glastrier. D tier. Spectrier is unfortunately D tier. Because when you compare its stats to Fluttermane just got better. Fluttermane's faster. Fluttermane wins. What's 5 more special attack points gonna do? Weird deer. He's a weird deer. Cleavor as well. Kind of fun. If you asked me in Regulation D where I put Cleavor, I probably would say C tier. But now, unfortunately, I think I've changed my mind about Cleavor. Another one is an Amorous. I used to call it Amorous like the best. Now I think not good. Same with Garganackle. Garganackle still does Garganackle things, but not as good. And I think Espathra is in the same case. Who else can I really put in the same boat? Screamtail used to be good, not anymore. Brute Bonnet, yeah, another Pokemon that's fallen off. I really want to talk about how, like, some of these Pokemon have fallen off. Palafin has fallen off, but not to the same level. And I think we are sleeping on Palafin. Orfworm. Now, the reason I'm talking about Orfworm now is because he's another Pokemon that's fallen off, and I think he's now in D tier. He just doesn't do what I want, not what we want him to do anymore. Slushrush uses a Titan, I think. This one was one I was debating, but I think I gotta leave him in D. Ursaluna Blood Moon. Ursa Blood Moon pairs well with Dusclops, so I think I should put them in the same tier. Actually, no, it's an A tier. We could give it that. We could give it the benefit of the doubt. Call it an A tier. It's not as bad as these other guys. Ursaluna. The bear. It does the same thing Conkeldurr does. But with the right typing. Basculegion. It's a cool mon. Tier. Sneasler. Normal gem stuff. Overquill, Intimidate. Mousehold not as good, but still okay. Great Tusk bad. Iron Moth, still good. Toad Scroll bad. Let's see. Just try and get these Gen 9 mons out of the way, because it takes me a while to decide on them. Skeledirge, D tier. Now, Armarouge. Armarouge still does his Indeedee Armarouge stuff, baby. You cannot doubt the power of Armarouge. And, well, now that Glamora accidentally came up with me, I might as well talk about it too. So Armarouge is an A tier. It still does its thing. It still clowns anyone who can't deal with it. Because you know, if you can't deal with that team, you are done. There is no winning. There is no winning. As for Glamora, it's still good. Still has that toxic debris stall stuff. And while you talk about Glamora, you have to talk about Dondozo and Tatsugiri. These guys are like the boys. Like, you gotta run them. How do you not run Dondozo Tatsugiri with Glamora? It's like Dondozo and Tatsugiri were the intended team. Then Glamora was just kind of like the guy who kind of like hitched a ride, and now they're like best buds. Annihilate. Rage Fist, Defiant. He's okay, I guess. For Giraffe. Never doubt the Farigiraffe. He keeps getting second. But you know what? Second place. He goes in the second tier. King Gambit. He used to be to the charts back in his heyday. Now he kind of sits there, appearing every now and then on tournament streams. You kind of see him. You might have seen him on Riley Factura's team during Latin America International Championships, or LAAC as they call it. He's kind of cool. He just kind of sits there, menacingly. A tier. I wonder where I'll put this. I think, D tier? Oh, come on. That joke didn't even second. Flatmane. Iron Hands. I feel like we all know what Iron Hands does at this point. Stall it out. This man just uses his hands, defends himself, hits back like a truck. I'm trying to put him in ST, but the lag is getting a little powerful. Luckily, we only have 2 left. Baxcalibur. Baxcalibur has kind of gotten more popular ever since it got Scale Shot, and I think it's a really good Pokemon, so I think I'm going to have to put him in A tier. Lastly, Iron Bundle. I think Iron Bundle's the type. Besides Chen Pao. And he's fast. That's his ability. He's fast. You give him max speed, Quark Drive, with the booster energy, he's outspeeding everything. He's technically got 4 times super effective damage on Ogerpon and Wellspring. In fact, let's go around S tier and let's see every Pokemon in S tier that Iron Bundle can do super effective damage against. Hisuian Arcanine is that damage kind of meaningless considering it's a Mungus, so we'll give him half a point. 4.5. Tornadus is 5.5. Landorus Therian is 6.5. Rillaboom is 7.5. Urshifu Rapid Strike is 8.5. Fluttermane and Iron Hands he can't do super effective damage on against. And honestly, those are probably his only 2 counters. Because if we're being real, he has a solid defense stat. It's a special defense stat that we need to worry about. But there's not a lot of great special attackers. And Iron Hand is just strong. And like, when we talk about things that do super effective damage back, yeah, there's a lot. But Iron Bundle can actually take hits and most of the stuff that does actual good damage into him, Iron Bundle can counter, and he's most likely going first. And if they do a priority move, like say Rillaboom uses a Grassy Glide, Iron Bundle's most likely going to tank it. So yeah, Iron Bundle may be the Pokemon that you should be using. But that's all I have for today. It's been a long list. If you've made it this far, congrats. I know this isn't the best quality of video. You probably clicked on this because you're like, ooh, tier list. But thanks for watching, man. See ya.